Hey Charles, how you doing? Sorry it took so long to get back to you on this. Um, Took the head gasket off and the head off rather, and the head gasket. But here you can see this is the bottom of the head, which goes onto here. All right, and you can see at the bottom there where oil is leaking out. Okay, and it even looks like there near the exhaust valve, oil might be coming out, but for sure it's coming from the cylinder area and then leaking out here. And you can see these bolts are kind of telltale signs. See where these 3 bolts are right here that are darker color? That's where the oil that was in the cylinder was coming and draining out of the bottom of the head gasket between the gasket. Here's like the gasket piece that goes on here, right? And that's a gasket between the head and the cylinder. Okay, and this is supposed to be nice and shiny. This whole area is supposed to be nice and shiny and flat and smooth. But as you can see, that oil has been passing the head gasket, so blown head gasket, and the oil that is getting into the cylinder is being blown out past the blown head gasket to the deck here, where all that oil residue is. All right, so there shouldn't be oil in the cylinder. Okay, there shouldn't be oil that's getting into here, but there is oil. There should be a light coat of oil from inside the crankcase down in there inside the engine. Okay, the rings that are around this piston here control how much oil gets on the walls of the cylinder. And there should be a light coat of oil on the cylinder to reduce friction, right? I mean, that's how it's supposed to work. Now if you look closer at the side walls of the cylinder here, at some point this engine's been run very low on oil, causing scoring of the sidewalls, as you can see there. And this is allowing oil to get from the crankcase to this area, this whole area right in here, and right in here where the spark plug goes. Here's where the spark plug sparks. This is the combustion chamber. Okay, and so oil is getting into the combustion chamber. The gasket failed, the head gasket, and then the oil that's passing the piston rings is getting pushed out of the head gasket, past the head gasket, and then down onto the deck of the lawnmower here. So the head gasket can be changed. I can put that on there and it'll probably seal this. Okay, it'll seal this area, and I can file this down and sand this down and make this flat, but I really can't make this perfectly flat unless I take the engine off of the deck, remove the valves, and get it flattened properly to ensure that the new head gasket is going to seal. So all I can do is get this as flat as possible, put a new head gasket on there, and then hope for the best, hope that it seals good, and it probably will. But really, oil is still going to be getting into the combustion chamber past this groove area. See all these grooves on here? Okay, it's really, there's a lot of scoring on there, and it's pretty deep, but it's allowing oil to get in the combustion chamber. And I'm not saying there's no way to fix that, but I'm saying the engine has to be removed from the lawnmower deck. The engine has to be disassembled and the piston taken out of the cylinder, and then the cylinder has to be honed. Now this is like, to do this kind of work, you're talking about a couple $100. So, what I can do, and I really don't want to do that. It's a lot of work, and it's expensive work. But for like about $10, it's going to cost you to get a cylinder head gasket, and I can flatten this head and put it all back together and see how it runs. It may still smoke a little bit, but because you're still going to get oil in the combustion chamber because of all the scarring and the scoring, scratching that's on the cylinder wall there, it's just getting past the piston rings. You might even have bad piston rings on the piston, and to change those, it also requires engine removal, disassembly, and then piston ring replacement. But that's a possibility. That's something you could do. But still, if you did that, you would want to hone down the cylinder wall and make sure that it's nice and smooth. If you're going to put new piston rings in there, you got to do that. So anyway, just letting you know what's up. Your options are just to scrap it and throw this one away, or if you want me to get a new head gasket on there and then put it back together and see how it runs, that's $70. But I really don't want to remove this engine, disassemble it, and do all that detailed engine work with honing the cylinder and putting new piston rings on there, which is would be the next step if you really want to fix this engine. But honestly, if you're looking at $150, $200 for all this work, you can buy a brand new lawnmower. Okay, so just letting you know.